here for TVLine's Women to Watch series, a celebration of bold voices making big waves. I'm honored to be joined by our Woman to Watch in comedy, Wally Baram.
Hi.
Hi, Wally. Thank you for joining us today. How does it feel to be a woman to watch?
It feels like I'm a woman being watched, so exciting, but also concerning. You be you be you be you be oh my God.
Let's talk about overcompensating. So you're a TV writer who just became a TV star, a woman to watch, in fact. But you were hired as a writer on the show first, and then you became one of the leads. So what was like the biggest learning curve for you?
I had never acted before. It was truly a vertical line. The curve is that it was just so immediate and so steep. But I was so fortunate to learn in the environment with Benito and Scott, our showrunner. And because I knew everyone, I felt more comfortable failing and learning with everyone, which is so critical in getting, the best out of your art, is like, not being afraid to take risks. It was really, really intense, but it was so rewarding. I feel like I came out of that process having experienced like a true actor's boot camp, I think.
Carmen had so many memorable moments. She had an awkward almost hookup with Benny. She had an explosive bathroom scene. What was like the funniest scene that you remember shooting?
Probably that bathroom explosion. It's 2 a.m. and Benny's vomiting and he's finding new physical ways to vomit.
Yeah, he did.
At first he started with cat and then kind of turned into some sort of like flailing crustacean. It was just remarkable. And to really lean in for myself, they were like, go hog wild. And I was like, okay, I will go hog wild.
Were there ever any scenes where you just couldn't even keep a straight face or like people just kept breaking?
Honestly, anything with Holmes.
Rumi! No. Whatever you're doing, no, I think.
It's so hard not to break that it's almost challenging to shoot because Holmes will give a new spin to a joke or try something out.
You will not die on my watch. Drive! What is this, a kid neighborhood? Okay? It's my friend's life at stake.
There's a part where Holmes is videotaping Benny after he's claimed to have done a sex act to me that he never did.
There he is. He's a liar and probably a virgin.
I had no idea that they were going to do that, and I just broke down. I mean, it was just like such a blast to shoot.
Hi. There's my GBF.
What?
Gay best friend.
So the show wouldn't have worked if you and Benito Skinner, aka Benny Drama, didn't have such good chemistry. Was there one particular time you remember during shooting or like during the audition process where you were like, okay, we have the chemistry, we've got it?
When I first interviewed to be on the show, it was clear that I had a connection with this character, at least in a writing capacity. And then this was obviously a character that he created. So we had a ton of chemistry over that. And then when I auditioned, I remember coming in the room and I had never met him in person before. I just felt like, when a dog is doing a pretty extraordinary wiggle because they're so excited, that's what it felt like. It felt like I was balloons, like I was confetti. And it was just, I don't know, so excited to see my buddy.
So we have work to do, Gaby.
Gaby?
Gay baby. Okay.
So I know you've said that the episode 2 scene in the Domino's parking lot really stood out to you. Can you talk about why that meant so much to you?
On one level, it was the audition scene. So it was a scene that Benny and I had just worked and worked and worked. And on another level, within the script, it's these two characters playing this. It almost reminds me of when my dog is trying to figure out if she wants to go in the ocean and and the ocean comes out and it touches her feet and she's like, oh, is this okay? I don't know. And then the ocean goes back. And then my dog kind of gets closer to the water and then the ocean comes back and then she kind of freaks out and runs back. And it's just this push and pull of two characters trying to figure out, am I safe here?
You asked who I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was no one. I was no one.
I think it was a really artfully written scene. And I think that is both the experience of those characters, but also was my experience getting this job with Benito, where in us working that scene so many times, we built so much friendship intimacy. And that's where we really cultivated a lot of the chemistry that you see on screen.
And this is the highlight of my college experience so far, so.
That is a tragic sentence.
Yeah, it's kind of pathetic.
That's cool. Your like real friendship was born out of that fake friendship moment on screen.
There was a lot of life imitates art, imitates life, imitates art in this one, I think.
My favorite moment was in episode 6 when Carmen sees Benny across the dance floor and like starts to realize he's gay.
Yeah.
It made me cry both times I watched it. What was it like shooting that scene, and what did it mean to you?
It was brutal shooting that scene, I won't lie, because by the time we had shot that scene, we had bonded so much in the intensity of the project, and I knew that that scene was obviously so personal and coming from such a place of pain and transformation for Benny, and that he was putting himself in a really vulnerable place from his past when he was shooting it. And we shot it from so many different angles, and you were just watching this person put himself through such a emotionally difficult place and sob so many different times. And every time they were like, let's do it from this angle, let's do it from this angle. I wanted to do what the character was doing, which is like catch him and say like, you're safe, you're okay. I think his performance did a good job of eliciting from me what my performance needed to be, where I was just like, I just want to exhale for you.
I love you.
It was just like such a deeply emotional moment to share with him.
So I want to flash forward a little bit to the finale. The finale is kind of damning for our Carmen. She kissed Benny's crush, she slept with Peter and didn't tell Grace, and then she outs Benny at the party. If I'm Benny, tell me why I should even keep Carmen as my best friend.
If you're Benny, I think that you can relate strongly to the chaos and the fluctuations of what it means to be finding yourself in college. And so I think you could have some empathy for that. And you could also understand that you have created a space that up until this moment is a safe space for you to be. And perhaps it's through a series of accidents that some of these things happen. Perhaps I think that Miles kissed Carmen. So that one is, even if like she opened the door a little bit, his big head is leaning into her big head, and I don't think that she meant to out Benny. I think it's a series of, I mean that doesn't take full accountability for the character, but I do think that there is some element of that is not her fault, that my DMs are like, you monster.
Me everybody's boyfriend.
And you want to everybody's boyfriend.
I have to interrogate myself a little bit because I've only thought it was Carmen kissing Miles.
Claire, you asked me to campaign, I'll campaign.
Well, speaking of campaigning, I want to come up with a little pitch for digging Carmen out of this hole if there's a season 2. How is she going to like repair her life?
I think she's almost going to have like some sort of forced boombox moment below his dorm type vibe, where I have no idea truly what Benito has in store.
I like that idea, especially because the show has so much to do with music.
Yeah, also that.
But if she did do the boombox moment, what would her song be to Benny?
Her song to Benny, I think, would be Party for You. Although it's in the thing. Wait, no, I can't do that.
It could be used again. It could be like the through line of the show.
Maybe it's, if you were to do a through line now that I think about it, I'd shut you down. I'm sorry. Maybe it's Super Bass again. That would be their song.
Wait, that would be so cute. I feel like we just wrote that scene, Wally.
I think
because
we
that's
did.
Their song.
She raps it at him at a party.
We haven't gotten to hear her rap that song yet.
We haven't.
In full.
I hear that that's what the people want, so.
That's what this person wants, so I appreciate acknowledging that.
Got stacks on deck like he's saving up.
Going forward, do you think of yourself more as a performer or more of a writer, or are both kind of now intertwined for you?
I think of myself after overcompensating more professionally as all of those things. Previously, when I got into this arena of comedy, I had so many great role models that were doing all the things, multi-hyphenates or creators like Issa Rae and Ali Wong and Mindy Kaling and Lena Dunham. It was very much sold to me that I would be able to find and write and perform and explore comedy across all these different modalities. And I've always conceived of myself in this way. I wanted to express myself in this way and make in this way. But now I think that I am a step closer to being able to do it professionally more and have done it.
Since it was your first big acting gig, do you feel like you are an actor inside?
Inside, yes, but also sometimes what's inside is not what you get paid to do. So it's the Wally that loves to create, yes. The Wally that gets paid to create is now, it feels like maybe that version is also approaching. Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to do that again. I would love that.
So then, since you mentioned like all those creators who've done all the things, like Lena Dunham, Issa Rae, how important is it to make sure that you have a part in the actual writing of the characters you take going forward?
It's not something that I would prioritize. I think I'd love to write. I'd love to do that. I'd also love to take someone else's character entirely. And,
Oh, cool.
I think what's exciting to me about this creative field is that there are so many different ways to do it, and the creativity comes from so many different places in so many different ways and commingles in so many, where like sometimes it's entirely a character born out of someone's inspiration, sometimes it's collaborative, sometimes that part of it really inspires me. So I'm open to all of the above, but being able to have your own say in some of what a character is made it easy for me, easier than it might have otherwise, to go from having never acted before to a lead role, for sure.